Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Alex, aka Captain Whelmed, and today we're going to be reacting to yet another video. And of course, it's going to be some transphobic things because that's what the internet is at this point in time. So a little bit of context about the video that I'm going to be reacting to today. It is the trailer for a documentary by Matt Walsh. For those of you that don't know who Matt Walsh is, he's an American right-wing political commentator and author, and has done some pretty problematic things. And recently he's put together a documentary called What is a Woman? And I've seen a couple of clips of the trailer of it, but I've never watched the full thing. And I have a feeling it's not going to be fun. So just to start off with, I'm going to give out a bit of a trigger warning and a transphobic warning for the content that we're about to witness.
What is a woman? Can you tell me that? Well, you're at the Women's March, you must have some idea. Please.
So from the outset, it's a valid question, because a woman is whatever she describes herself as being, right? If someone were to identify as a woman, they're a woman. You can't categorize it or dictate it via certain attributes or features. In a video I did recently reacting to trans men versus conservative men, you can check it out in a link above. A lot of them were talking about how, oh, I wouldn't know that you were I wouldn't clock you as a man because this person didn't have a beard. This person was into their transition journey. So it kind of doesn't make sense. So realistically, a woman is whatever woman defines herself as being, because there's nothing that can categorize someone otherwise. For example, people argue that it's only women can get pregnant. This isn't true. There's plenty of cis women that can't get pregnant, unfortunately. So yeah, let's see how much worse this gets.
If one person could tell me what a woman is.
You are not here for women. We ask you to leave.
What is that?
I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4. I host a talk show. I give speeches. I write books. I like to make sense of things.
A woman is not anything in particular.
There is not one particular thing.
It could be many things to many people.
Some women have penises, right? Some men have vaginas.
I like scented
Agreed.
candles. I've watched Sex and the City.
Yeah,
How do I know if I'm a woman?
that's a great question.
You're not a scientist. You're not a gender studies major.
No,
How do you know that you're a man?
I guess because I got a dick.
Oh god, I can't tell. When I first watched the clips of this trailer, I couldn't tell whether it was satire or not until I did some deep diving into who this guy is. Like the person before said, some women have penises. Some men don't. Simple as. It's very clear that this is going to be a very difficult one when it comes to people denying the fact that gender and sex are completely different things, and they are completely different things at the end of the day. Gender is all about like your mentality and how you think about yourself, and your sex is your physical traits and attributes. And I think people really need to know the clear difference between them. And it goes to show, any video that we've watched or any video that I've reacted to, it goes to show that the cis people really struggle to understand the difference between gender and sex, probably because they line up. I can imagine a lot of people would look at me, at least like pre-surgery, a lot of people might look at me and think, oh yeah, well, that's a woman, but it didn't match up, so therefore that doesn't really work, and it can cause a lot of issues. So yeah, it's clear that there's a lot of issues between people trying to distinguish the difference between sex and gender, and I think Matt is going to play a lot on that at the moment.
Can a man become a woman?
So a trans woman is always a woman, right? This is an interesting logic, and the trans man is always a man, just born in the wrong bodies, but they are always those, I strongly believe they are always that gender that they identify as. Right? So a non-binary person is always a non-binary person, no matter the gender or the sex that they were assigned at birth. End of.
I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
Women only know what women are.
Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is? You want to tell us what a woman is?
I'm a biological.
So these sorts of questions really infuriate me. Here in the UK, we've got someone called Piers Morgan who has previously had on talk shows trans people, and he's done the whole, oh, I identify as a penguin, or I identify as a helicopter. Trans speciesism isn't a thing. So a lot of the points that he makes is to just ridicule and mock trans people and non-binary people and gender non-conforming people.
I'm a biological woman that medically transitioned to appear like a male. I will never be a man.
And so they go on the internet and they're told that all of their problems will be solved if they become a man.
So you worry.
Alright, so Scott, the person before, clearly, I haven't done much research into this person, but clearly seems like they regret their transition journey, and I'm unaware of their pronouns, so I'm going to be using they, them, especially based on the statement that they said. So Scott clearly either regrets their transition, but deems that it's too late in life to detransition, or is just sort of accepting that they're stuck from what they might believe to be stupid decisions on their part. And that author, I think a lot of people are convinced that the internet has had some sway in making people trans or making people gay or queer. I disagree with that. We have so much more information and so many more things are researched now than they were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. You know, there's so much more information at our fingertips that we have access to help us realise who we are early on in life. Some people don't come out until their 30s, 40s, 50s. Some people don't come out until a lot later on in life, and that's just a personal discovery and journey. There are some people, and I believe there's a documentary about a girl called Jazz who identifies as a trans woman, and I believe the documentary started when she was something like 8. Some people know. If you know you're born in the wrong body, you know. It's hard to describe what it's like and the feeling of it and the mentality behind it, but that's exactly it. If you know, you know. And it sounds like it's a very invalid point because there's not really much grounds or basis on that argument, but you kind of just have to trust someone when they say these things.
That there could be a sort of social contagion element of this?
A teeny tiny bit, maybe.
It got me at 42. Your child doesn't have a chance.
And you're affirming it with hormones that have never been used in this way.
Puberty blockers, which are completely reversible.
Completely reversible.
One of the drugs used is Lupron, right? Which has actually been used to chemically castrate sex offenders.
You know,
So obviously this is American, and as someone that hasn't done or isn't on hormones or any sort of blockers, I can't really speak on this behalf. But yeah, that point is also null and void there.
It with hormones that have never been used in this way.
But they researched them. Like, HRT has been a thing for menopausal women for a long time, and I don't really know much about hormones, so I'm not, by any means, I'm not claiming to be an expert. But as far as I'm aware, they use similar sorts of HRT for all trans people, whether it's estrogen or whether it's testosterone. They use it similarly for cis people that are going through hormone-related medical issues. But also, yeah, this is American, so I can't really speak on what I do and don't know when it comes to the hormone and puberty blockers that they're in reference to here.
puberty blockers, which are completely reversible.
Completely reversible.
One of the drugs used is Lupron, right? Which has actually been used to chemically castrate sex offenders.
You know what? I'm not sure that we should continue with this interview.
You don't want to talk about the drugs that you give to kids, or?
How can they be removed?
So I guess the medicine that they're talking about here, the drug that they're talking about here, drugs can be used on different strengths. For example, I know for a fact that speed can be used to help the symptoms and the effects of ADHD because it balances things out. But then also people take it recreationally as a party drug. I know nothing about drugs, so I'm not going to go too much into detail about this. But there are things like this where certain drugs will be used for at a higher percentage for certain things and at a lower percentage for others. For example, codeine is one of them. I got given codeine after my surgery. It was very strong codeine. If I was in hospital, they probably would have given me either similar strength or slightly weaker. You can also get weaker forms of codeine. So there are more pure forms and there are weaker forms of every drug used for different purposes.
How can they be removing the healthy breasts of 15-year-old girls?
There are math.
This really annoys me. So I know definitely for a fact in the UK you cannot, and I know a lot of European countries as well, you cannot get top surgery under the age of 18. It's not a thing because your body's not fully developed. You can be on hormones and you can be on puberty blockers, I think maybe from the age of 16. Again, not sure, haven't done too much research into this. Even if they are healthy, I had a relatively healthy chest, but it wasn't healthy for me mentally. It wasn't a part of my body. I had to completely disassociate the fact that it was a part of it. It didn't belong to me. It's a weird mentality to speak about, but for those of you watching that may suffer with dysphoria, you know what it's like to have a body part that you feel like doesn't belong to you. It's a horrible thing and it's a very weird thing. But yeah, as far as I'm aware in America, you can't get top surgery either under the age of 18, so this is definitely misinformation, and it seems to me that the full documentary will have a lot of misinformation spread about the process, and yeah.
There are feminine boys. What are we gonna do about that? Carve them up?
How can this whole thing...
Well, masculine girls and feminine boys, fine, you know, that's... Again, that doesn't dictate whether you're trans or not. Some of my closest friends have been... Some of my closest guy friends have been incredibly femme, and they don't identify as trans, they're just very feminine. And some of my closest female identifying friends have been very masculine, but that doesn't mean that they're trans because they don't identify that way. So no, not gonna carve them up unless they choose to. I hate the term carve them up because it's ridiculous. It makes it sound like you're mutilating your body. No, unless they identify as trans and struggle with that dysphoria and need or want those surgeries, then no, it's not gonna happen, is it?
thing be happening, Matt?
I wanted us to have a safe place to be able to talk about this.
Part of me wants to ask why you care so much.
I care about the truth. I care about children. I care about the women who are having their opportunities stolen from them.
Is it
so of course they put pictures in about this. The whole thing of trans women competing in women's sports, it does my head in, because I think there was literally like an Olympic swimmer, maybe competed this year, or whenever the most recent Olympics were. I don't follow sports. There have been several examples of trans people competing at the exact same level and they still don't win. It's only the one time or the few times that these trans women or trans men do win that people focus on. They don't focus on all of the other losses that they have had. They only focus on the wins that they've been training their entire lives for, or they've been training a very long, significant amount of time for. So it's not removing the opportunities from people, it's just they are working hard, they are doing what they need to do to get to that point and to win. I don't think there's anything unfair about it.
Transphobic, to tell the truth?
The interview's over. Let's turn off the cameras.
Excuse me.
They're fair. I just wanted to know, what is a woman?
And you're not gonna find out.
Based on what I'm saying, would you ever want to move to America?
They say no, never.
Okay. That was rough. I have to admit. Okay, so that was the trailer for the documentary What is a Woman? I both do and don't want to watch the documentary to see how much more insight I gain and how in depth, and whether he actually does some decent research or whether he just argues with people the whole time. As you can tell, it's highly infuriating and there's going to probably be a lot of misinformation spread. If you want to watch it, I suggest you go and look it up yourself. I will not be linking it in the bio. But yeah, it's a difficult one because he is very much stuck in his belief that trans people or the whole thing of what is a woman, and it very much feels and comes across as transphobic. A lot of the comments under this video are just people agreeing with this guy, and it seems like he is very much stuck in his own echo chamber of people agreeing with him. Someone has said, "Thank you so much for this documentary. So tired of being called a transphobe because I have questions. We live in a society that values emotions more than reason, and that's why we're all doomed. People can't believe that it's not satire because of how ridiculous it is." So yeah, it's a difficult one. There's a lot of people agreeing. People are saying that he's doing God's work. I disagree with this man, but that's probably because according to someone like him, I am too much of a woke liberal that is dictated by my emotions rather than actual logic. So I truly could ramble about how much I disagree with this man because he has made so much other content that is particularly harmful, but we're not going to get into that. So I want to say thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed this type of content, make sure you like and comment and subscribe so you know when I'm going to be posting. I post most often on Wednesdays for longer content, but I also post a whole bunch of shorts from my Twitch channel, which will all be linked down below if you want to go check it out. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.